'Cause I'm live. I am live. We are okay. Invite user. All right, you keep an eye on the chat while I see if I can play with the controls. And see if I can make you a moderator or something. There's got to be a way.
I'm getting feedback. Oh, I can add destinations too.
You can add what?
My destination.
I don't see no picture for you. You don't have your camera on or something.
There. Can you see me now?
Hold on. No, wait a minute. Yeah, now I see you.
Something's wrong because I'm getting double. I'm getting
You're getting
feedback.
an echo because you're on. You're getting an echo because you're on the phone with me. Hang up the phone.
Oh.
Hang up the phone, Victoria.
All this complication.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, keep an eye on the chat while I play with these controls and see if I can make you a moderator somehow. Like
okay,
I said,
I'm not hearing you very loudly
don't
though.
know the app that well yet. I'm still learning. So there's got to be a way that I can make you a moderator, and I don't know how to do it. And if somebody comes on, and we can ask them too if they know how, and they might be able to walk us through it. Because a lot of people have gotten used to it and know the app better than I do, you know. So
yeah. I can't hear you very well though.
Do what?
I can't hear you very well.
You can't. I don't know why. Turn up your volume.
It's all the way up.
I hear me. Okay.
Penny
What
Lee
about
Rossman Gitko says, hello, love.
We are trying to figure out if there's a way to make Victoria a moderator. Do you know? I'm learning the app and trying to learn these controls. Penny Lee. If you know anything about it and you want to come up and maybe help us out, I would appreciate it. If not, that's fine too. Let's see. What am I doing here? Video effects disabled. It gives me a more option. But I don't see anywhere that it says that you can make someone a moderator. You got to be able to make someone a moderator somehow. It's on the settings, but where? Where, Penny Lee? I'm having trouble finding it. Like, is it on the settings when you first come in? Do you want to come up and try to explain it to me? If so, let me know in the comments. If you want to come up, I'll bring you up. If not, that's fine too. You can type it out, whatever works best for you. I can't seem to find it. I was in settings and I can't seem to find it. I'm pretty new. I'm sure everybody's pretty new, but I haven't really got to play around with the app that much, so I'm not used to it yet. Victoria, when she comments, if she says anything, let me know, because I'm not over on that side right now where I can see the chat. Okay?
Yeah, all right, I can see that. I can see the chat.
Yeah, keep an eye on it and see what she says.
Yeah. She's gonna look in the settings.
I haven't got us live on Clapper yet till I get this going. Because we're just trying to figure it out.
I noticed
about.
on the notifications and stuff that they have training sessions. For
Yeah,
Clapper.
yeah, they do. There's
I
a
thought that was nice.
tutorial. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a tutorial.
Okay.
But I just haven't had time to play with it, is what I'm saying.
No, I understand. Yeah, there's a lot to know.
I just haven't had time to play. Yeah,
there's a lot to know because there's so many different. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I told you, but I got my meetup group started. They just have to approve it.
Okay. No, you didn't tell me.
Yeah. And it's going to be survivors of abuse and allies, and then capital letters, in action.
Oh, cool. Cool.
And although it's going to be out of Minneapolis, it's going to include anybody that wants to be part of it and do action steps in their own area,
Right.
Be it just supporting our work, what we're doing here in Minneapolis, or if they want to get involved in trying to do something similar in their area.
Okay.
So,
cool.
just anything, if they just are even interested in just wanting to know what we're doing.
Right.
So it's just, and I signed up for it. It's what is it? Well, anyway, I paid 50% off the first month, was $19.99.
Right.
So I'm hoping, now I don't know, I'm hoping that I can start raising money so it'll cover that, because you can charge people to be a part of your group. But I have this feeling that, I want to belong to a lot of groups, and they cost money, and I want to do it, and I want to help them, but I can't afford it. And so I just don't even go back when I can't afford it, because I don't remember, But
right.
But I think if I just put on there, all activities are free, but we really appreciate any donation,
Right.
Or I don't want to put, we desperately need donations or anything like that, but
right. I get what you're saying. All right, how do I get the dang chat back? There it is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure this out while you're talking.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't hear you very well.
Okay, Penny Lee, thank you. She's gonna go look in the settings and see if she can guide me through it. What the heck are takeovers? I don't even know what takeovers. Try under community standards.
I'm gonna go off and come back on because I'm having trouble hearing you.
All right. You kids go in that bedroom. Do not. No, not right now. If you do, I'm going to take you. Bitty, you're going to lose your phone for. You're going to lose your phone for a week. I knew you were going to start this. Get him, and I'm going to tell him. Then you stop right now.
So you are texting him.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to fix.
Liar.
Don't you call me a liar.
Are being one.
No, I'm not.
Just see texting somebody.
No, I was punching in I have code on here. I have to punch in. Don't call me a liar. You know I have a code I have to punch in.
I thought you had phone. I thought you had it on you.
But I need you to stop because I am on a live.
And I go on porch.
I just told you to go on the
No,
porch.
you didn't. You said go outside.
On the porch. Go outside on the porch. Clean out your ears, child. Sorry, you guys. Can you hear Victoria now?
Now, oh yeah, I don't know what was wrong, but it's all
Okay.
better.
All right. Probably because we were on the phone together when you logged in.
That could be, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So where are? Okay, I'm trying to figure this out still. Where are the community standards now? That's what I don't know. Do I have to go to the main part of the app? Do I have to end my broadcast to set it up? That's what I'm not understanding. If I have to end the broadcast and then start it over, I don't know what to do here. Or can I go out and still stay live? I don't know these things. I don't know.
Maybe you can give her your number and have her give you a call and walk you through it.
Some people don't. I don't give my number out to people I don't know, Victoria.
Oh, I didn't know you didn't know it. Okay.
Yeah. I don't really know her. I mean, she's got no profile picture or anything. I'm not saying she's a bad person or anything.
No,
it's just
no,
I don't know her and she doesn't know me.
Personally, yeah. Right.
Right.
No, I got it. Yeah.
So until I actually chat with someone and get to know them, and I trust them. Yeah. There's too many precautions you got to take in life these days. No offense, Penny. Please don't take offense.
No. I'm sure she understands. We've all been put in bad positions because of.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we talk about domestic violence and stuff, because of situations we've been in our lives.
Yeah, not just domestic violence.
Can you look, Victoria, and see if you can do a screen share without me making you a moderator?
No, it won't let me, but I can turn around my camera and show the picture I wanted to.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been there, so you understand. Thank you, sweetheart. All right. So what I'm going to do right now, Victoria, you're going to have to keep an eye on the chat.
Yeah.
I am going to bring your screen up and your screen up only, because I know how to do that. Okay. That one I did figure out. At least for Clapper to see. Now on here, they're going to see a dual picture, but it's a bigger screen. But for me to show Clapper, there's a certain way I got to do it, and I won't be able to see the comments.
Right.
So let me do this. And then let me get Clapper set up before we get started.
While we're waiting, I want to see if I can figure out this turnaround camera thing here.
All right.
This is Marshmallow, everybody. It's my service dog.
He's pretty.
Say hi, Marshmallow. Say hi to people. Oh, they're going to say hi? Gonna do? No? Okay. Oh, well, I know that. Yeah. He thinks we're going to play now.
He's a sweetheart. He's a sweetheart. Okay. So I got to sign into Clapper. Hey, Marshmallow.
What you doing? What you doing? They was saying hi to you. They was saying hi. He gets so excited. Penny Leah is saying that her picture's not up.
Uh-huh.
Penny Leah is saying
What?
that her picture is not up.
Yeah. I know. She doesn't have a picture on there yet. But,
Oh,
yeah, so she couldn't even come up, just like you know?
yeah.
She can't come up without having a profile picture.
Oh,
That's what she's trying to tell me. She can't come up.
Oh.
You know, she can't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
My cup says coffee is a lifestyle.
Yeah, I know. I like that. You showed me that
Of
the
course,
other
everything's
day.
backwards. Yeah.
Right. All right. So I'm gonna do this so they can view
I'm gonna turn the air on.
you.
Oh, hot. Hot, hot, hot.
I just lost your picture. I need your picture back,
Me?
Victoria.
What?
Where'd your picture go, baby? Yeah, I don't see you anymore.
I
Why?
don't know.
There you go. I don't know what you did. Quit messing with stuff.
I ain't touching the thing.
Stop messing with stuff.
My phone is haunted. No, I was just plugging in my
Okay.
air conditioner.
I'm trying to get a
Penny
good
Lee says
picture
she has.
of you.
Penny Lee says she has a picture on Facebook.
Yeah, okay. So we're friends on Facebook, Penny Lee. I'm starting this live on Clapper. I can't hear you now, Victoria. What's going on?
I'm not talking.
Oh, okay. Well, talk because I need to hear you.
Oh, okay.
And I think you disappeared on me.
I could tell you guys about my service dog Marshmallow. I got him about a year ago, and I'm in an assisted living facility, and they told me I couldn't have a dog here, and I said it's a service animal. And before that, 3 months before, I gave her paperwork for my psychiatrist to get a service animal for having PTSD.
Now you
And so they called me up screaming and yelling at me and everything, and I had to get my daughter to take a
you're freezing, Victoria. You got a little area you can move to. You're freezing and cutting out. Can you reposition your phone to get better service?
That better? Can you hear me now?
Seems to be. Seems to be.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. I had it a ways away, but it was sitting on my computer that meant I messed it up. Anyway,
Yeah.
so anyway, they wouldn't let me have him here. They keep calling him a dog. They refuse to call him a service animal. So I called
Hey, Angela.
the Minnesota Law Center, and they gave me the information to the Disability Law Center. Called them and thought, oh my God, it's going to take forever to get information. And the next day, this lady calls me back and says, I'm your attorney. And she was like all versed and knew everything. And what I really like what she said is,
You're freezing
you know,
again.
like I don't know why.
I don't either. We're having some complications, you guys, so just bear with us for a few minutes. Hey, Derek. Hey, Angela.
I plugged my
Thank y'all
phone
for
in. Maybe
coming
that.
in. Huh?
I said I plugged my phone in. Plugged my phone in. That might help.
Oh, were you low battery?
No, I got 35%. Should be fine, but
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
All
Can
right,
you hear
so
me
go
better
ahead.
now?
Tell us your.
Yeah.
I can
So
now, yeah.
okay. So anyway, I had to find some place for him to go because she called me up screaming. The director called me up screaming and said, "Get that dog out of here! If you don't get that dog out of here, you're compromising your housing." And she was just yelling at me. "You can't just bring a dog into somebody's property without asking permission." I said, "I already gave you the paperwork." "Well, it don't matter. You can't have a dog here." And so I called my daughter, and she came. Vinny, my former husband, who's my friend, came to get him and brought him over to their
You're fine,
house.
Garrett. Thank you. Go ahead, Victoria. I'm just
No, that's fine.
trying to keep
No,
on this.
that's fine. And then, so anyway, I got a hold of this disability law attorney, and I like one thing she said was, "Oh, we're not playing right now. Stop." She's scratching on me. Right? Sorry. It's like having a kid, right? He wants my attention.
Dog
She's like
attacking
scratching on me, going
The
like
dog's
it's
attacking
playtime. It's meeting time. You wait because it's meeting time. All right, I'm on. Clapper. Wait. You're not? Yes. Okay. It's like having a
Right.
kid. So anyway, she said it's like somebody that can't walk that has a wheelchair, right? They need that wheelchair for their
Right.
disability. I need my service dog for my disability. And
Right.
according to Americans with Disabilities Act, if you look it up, so I looked it up. I looked up assisted care facilities and my rights as having a service animal. I photocopied everything, which was a bunch of pages. Then I got it back and highlighted it and underlined the things that I thought that, they weren't
Right.
understanding. And anyway, my attorney finally had to send a certified letter here saying that it's my right. And I didn't know what was going to happen. My daughter said she'd keep him overnight. So I went over there the next day and I was all upset. And she said she'd watch him for another night. And we were coming home, and my granddaughter, who was 11, was in the car. And I was crying because I knew he couldn't come home with me. And I fell in love with him the moment he got out of the car, you know. And
Right.
so I was getting out of the car and I was crying and saying goodbye. And she goes, "Grandma, don't cry. You are going to get Marshmallow back," she said. "And if my mom will keep him, I'll keep him. I'll take care of him. I'll keep him in my playhouse for you."
Aw. Well,
I said, "Oh, thank you."
show everybody Marshmallow. We got some new people coming on, so show them.
Alrighty. Okay.
He's so cute. Hi, John Jack. Isn't he cute? Look at him. He's so cute.
That's what are we doing, CC? Mommy got you all excited
That's her
last time.
service dog.
This is Marshmallow. Boy, am I glad your tongue is clean. Your face sure isn't.
Those of you that are on Clapper watching, you're only going to see Victoria right now because that's how I have the screen set up. But if you happen to be on HAPS, HAPPS, you can come over and join us on HAPS, and you'll be able to get the full view. If not, you can just watch from here. You'll hear me, but you won't see me. You'll hear Victoria and see Victoria.
I have a funny video I'm gonna post on Clapper, where whenever I get food, for instance, at one time I had a hot dog and for lunch, and I ate the hot dog and I put the plate over, had chips on. Of course, he don't want nothing to do with chips, right? So he covered it up with the sheet that's on the couch. So
yeah,
the other night, the other night I had a macaroni dish. Yeah, and he covered that up. So I was thinking of putting that on Clapper.
So cute. That was so cute.
Yeah.
So cute. Hi, Lizzie. Well, Victoria,
and we got Edward Windsor. And
over there. Okay. You want to welcome people in?
Yep. Welcome, Edward. And we've got Penny, Lee, Edward Windsor. Kids are angels. They sure are. They're gifts from above. I have 2 of them. My son's in California. He's coming home for the 4th,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to see
We're going
him.
to try to keep up with the chat, you guys, but it's going to be kind of difficult. He's watching one chat and on the other because we're on Clapper too. Victoria is going to be sharing with you some other things that she's gone through and also how she has been able to cope, coping skills. Victoria, why don't you explain a little bit about some of the things that you've suffered without going into too much detail,
Yeah.
like being
Well,
homeless and all of
yeah.
that.
Well, today
And
we're gonna talk about domestic violence, and
right,
the first time my first relationship with my daughter's father, um, he didn't want to let me out to go see my friends. He wouldn't let me talk on the phone. The only time he'd let me see my grandparents if he wanted to go over there and get money from them. And so I was very isolated, and he was very jealous. We were working together, and this guy just happened to sit down at our break time and just talk to me a little bit, and came home, and he's like, "We're not working there anymore." And I'm like, "Why not?" He goes, "'Cause you're over there flirting with that guy." Just total jealousy. And of course, it was always my fault. I was the one that was. And anyway, it came to a point where I got pregnant, and he was making drugs out of nasal inhalers and chlorine. And I was laying on the couch, and him and his friend were
wow,
over there with masks on, and it was a fold out couch. I was in the living room, and I saw him over there, and I go like this. I go, "What the hell you making? I'm pregnant." I said, "Should I be breathing this shit?" And he goes, "Shut up, you effing B." And anyway,
mm,
I said, "What are you making anyway?" And he goes, "Jailhouse cocaine." And I sat straight up in bed and went, "You were in jail?" Because like I knew nothing about him. I ran to Texas.
yeah,
Yeah, I ran to Texas and happened to tell this guy that my dad had molested me. And that's why I was running away from him. And so he was like, "I'll protect you. I'd kill him if he touched you. So I figured he was my big protector. I didn't know I'd need protection from him. But since he was
right,
doing drugs, he didn't
right,
need food. So we lived above a bar, and all he would do is go down and get me potato chips, like a bag of potato chips. I
yeah,
lost 50 pounds being pregnant,
right,
went into premature labor 3 times. And finally, the last time, um, we were over at a friend's house, and he was partying with some people, and I knew I was going back into labor again. So he started getting mad at me. So I went out the car and locked the door. I had no idea how to have a baby, to tell you the truth. So I put
right.
my feet up on the dashboard, jeans and all, and said, "Okay, God, let's have this baby." You know. So
Oh my God.
pretty soon he comes, starts pounding on the window, and let me in, let me in. And I go, "I'm not letting you in here," because I was scared of him. I didn't know what he's going to do to me.
So I didn't know
And
about that part, Victoria.
yeah,
So you literally
yeah,
had your baby in the car?
no, no, but I had planned on it.
Oh,
And
okay.
finally, he said, "Open the door. I'm taking you." Well, it was my grandparents, but I call them my mom and dad because they adopted me.
Right.
Taking you to your mom and dad's house, because um, all the women in there are really mad at me for not doing anything if you're in labor, and you're ruining my party. So
Oh my gosh.
I let him in because I figured, okay, he wants to get back to his party. Races
Right.
like crap over there. I open the door to get out. He takes his foot and pushes me out the door kicks me out the door onto the pavement with his foot. You know, my grandfather saw him scream and screech out and came out there, picked me up, brought me into the house, called the ambulance. On the way, the ambulance driver, the paramedic is going, or the ambulance guy, whatever, is saying, "Oh, don't worry, we've delivered a lot of babies in this ambulance. Don't worry." I go, "I am not having
Oh
my
boy.
baby in this ambulance. I'm having
Right.
my
Don't
baby
worry,
in the
don't worry.
hospital." so, so anyway, I got to the hospital and they stopped my labor because she was 2 months premature and her lungs haven't been developed. And they
Right.
had to, stop it for 2 days, 48 hours. So after the 48 hours were up, I got up and started walking around because I didn't want to go back home and have to go through that whole ordeal again, you
Right.
know. And because when I started freaking out when I was giving birth, so they tied me down.
Oh my
They tied
gosh.
me onto the table. And for those that didn't hear my other story, my dad used to tie me up all the time and
Yeah.
torture me. So I started having flashbacks.
Right.
And I ended up breaking my tailbone on the table. And when I
Oh my
delivered her,
gosh.
the doctor and the nurses, the doctor grabbed her, all the nurses and everybody ran out of the room. They didn't tell me nothing. It's a girl, boom, they're gone. And I don't know how
Oh
long it was.
wow.
They came back and said, the nurse said, "Would you like to see your daughter? Some people don't want to see their babies in this condition." So, Rita, all I'm thinking is that she died, you know?
Oh my
And I
God.
said, "Yeah, I want to see her." And so they put me in a wheelchair and wheeled me in. Of course, she was in an incubator. And she had to stay in the hospital for, I don't know, a month or two. She was 4 pounds, 6.5 ounces, but she kept going down in weight. So the doctor wanted me to, pump my breast for the milk and bring it in. Well, I kept pumping it and put it
Right.
in the freezer, but he'd never take me to the hospital. Go to my grandparents' house, said he needed money to take me to the hospital to go see Alicia. And
Oh
and then he wouldn't take us. So I didn't get to see her all that
right.
time. Well, once she finally reached 5 pounds, I was able to bring her home. And I don't know, it's been a week or two, but one time he says to me, he says, "Ever since you've had that baby," he would never call her his daughter, "ever since you had that baby, you hardly ever pay any attention to me anymore." And he didn't
Yeah.
hold her, he did nothing. You're just horrible. And he was selling everything in the house, and she was a
Right.
blonde hair, blue eyed baby, and that scared me, because on the black market, blonde haired, blue eyed babies are worth a lot of money, and it scared me.
Yeah.
And I would never leave her with him. So anyway, one night I was so exhausted. I'm just like, she was crying. I said, "Can you just give her a bottle?" And I wasn't breastfeeding, it was formula. So he went back there. We had a fold out couch here, and right behind was her room in bassinet. And he just took the old bottle and propped it up, you know. And she started crying again. I go, "You've got to fix her a new bottle." And so he's all huffy puffy. He goes in the kitchen and makes her new bottle of formula, goes back there. She's quiet for a couple seconds, starts crying again because he probably prepped it wrong, And all of a
Right.
sudden she was screaming, and then she was quiet, and then I heard him. I heard him screaming, shut up, just shut up." And I jumped, bolted out of bed around the corner. I looked at him. He's got her under the armpits and he's shaking her
Oh
like
my
this.
God.
And
Oh my
she's
God.
her whole body, she's 5 pounds like a rag doll. And
Right. Right.
Rhea, I don't even know how I got her away from him. I don't know. It's gone. But the next thing I
Right.
remember, I was sitting on the steps between the upstairs and downstairs, and I said, "God, you've got to help me you got to get me and her out of here." I said, "Because I know
Right.
he's going to kill her. He is going to kill her,
Right.
you know."
Right.
And I tell you what, I was so scared. I don't remember the night, but I remember waking up the next morning, and it wasn't anything I thought of. So it had to be a higher something, God,
Right.
whatever. And anyway, out of my mouth comes, "If you don't get a job, I'm leaving you." So guess what? He got a job. Guess what? I left him because I knew he couldn't keep a job, you know. And I called up all my friends who hadn't heard from me like in a year, and they're like, "Where you been? What have you been doing?"
Because
I
I
said,
know
"Never mind. Here's my
you're
address."
freezing, Victoria. Hold on a second. Victoria, hold on a second.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's on my end or your end, but you're freezing. Let me see what I got to do here.
Well, it says good now. I don't know. It keeps saying good and bad. I don't know.
Okay, so it's on your end then, I
Yeah,
guess, because
yeah, it is.
my end is saying it's fine and it's been fine, but you keep freezing.
Yeah, yeah. So,
All right.
so he got a job, and I called up all my friends, and they're like, "I haven't heard from you in like a year. What's going on?" And I said, "I will explain everything. Here's my address. Just come over here and help me get out of here." So they
Right.
did. I got out, and of course, I went to my grandparents' house. And it wasn't much longer after that when he came home from work that he peels in their driveway again. And my grandma looked at me, and it was just me and her there. She said, "No matter what he says, no matter what he does, do not come up from the basement. You go down there, sit in the farthest corner in the basement, put your hand over Alicia's mouth, and no matter what, I don't care if whatever happens, you do not come up." He came
Right.
in and was threatening to kill her, all these horrible things he was saying to her and everything. That's my wife, my baby. She doesn't have a right to keep that baby from me, you know, and threatening her life. And I tell you what, it took so much strength to not, you know, go up. But I kept hearing her words: "Whatever you do, do not come upstairs." So he
Right.
finally left, and then through the county, I got help getting into an apartment. Now, I didn't go into a battered women's shelter because I didn't think I was a battered woman. He never hit me,
Right.
and I couldn't prove that he did what he did to my daughter. So
What did I do?
I didn't think I'd go in battered women's shelter.
I'm listening, Victoria. I lost something. I'm looking for it.
Yeah. So
I don't
Edward
know what.
Windsor says some people don't think much. It's actions like that. Don't think much of actions like that guy. Yeah. The
Right.
thing is, yeah, it's it's just it's too it happens too much. That old saying, whatever goes on behind closed doors, or, stay out of other people's business, and,
Right.
that sort of a thing. But you
Yeah.
know what? When somebody's in abuse, be it an adult or a child, is being abused, it's our right as human beings to protect the people that can't protect themselves.
And you're, yeah. I don't know what.
So then I
Right.
ended up,
Hey, Sierra. All right. We're having some issues. I don't know why. Say something.
yeah, my
Okay.
little flasher keeps saying good, and then it says poor.
Okay. Sierra Marie. I don't want to holler.
Yes, Edward, it does happen too much. Way, way too much. And now because of COVID, it's even worse. Uh, Domestic violence and child abuse has skyrocketed. And we don't even know how badly, because people are trapped in their houses. The
Right.
most dangerous place for a child to be is in their own home. You know, only
Right.
7% of child abuse is stranger danger. And when I was
Yeah.
a kid, stranger danger that's the only thing that, they didn't tell us be careful. And I
Right.
even talk about this too, that when I was in high school, we learned what the word incest was and what it was, but we didn't know what to do if it was happening to us, and it was happening to me. So great, now I got a word. Oh, back to poor. So then I had a word that didn't make it stop, and that didn't let me know what to do if it was happening.
Right.
And so I ended up getting away from him, and my dad came back into my life and started molesting me again, which he kept coming in and out. And the last time was the worst. He was into S&M and torture and threats. against my life. And he wanted to
Right.
take me and my daughter Louisiana, marry me, and raise her as our child, which I knew meant he was going to start sexually abusing me or her because he had done the same thing to me as an infant. So when I finally got away from him, and it took me forever to even leave my house. My
Yeah.
girlfriend convinced me to go to this group called Parents Without Partners.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I met a guy there. And, some of us say we feel like we have the term victim across our forehead. Well, what
Right.
happens, I think, is that we tell these people about our past relationships and how bad they were. And if they're an abuser, they pick up on it and go, oh, yeah, I can,
Yeah.
that's
Exactly.
a good
Exactly.
person for me to be with. Or they could pick up on clues because, abusers have done this all their life. They're damn good at it.
Right.
And we blame ourselves and other people when they're in these situations.
So they know our weaknesses. They see them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we don't see what I call red flags.
Right.
Like, him say, well, I don't like when that guy's looking at you,
Right.
before we even got married. But like with my dad beat my mother before they got married, and she's still married.
Right.
Back then there was no battered women's shelters. And when I left my son's father,
Hey, how are you?
Edward says, I call fake people. Yep,
Yeah.
they are. My dad was very well known in the church. He was like the 10th highest computer programmer in the nation. He said, if you leave me, then I will tell the authorities you're crazy. You made this all up. And that you're a poor woman on welfare and I have all this money and I'm well known in the community. And then I'll have her all to myself.
Right.
And when I got away from him, I went to a battered women's shelter. The police brought me there. And, I stayed there for a while. And the only thing is a lot of women that were there were abused by their husbands and boyfriends and things like that. So all they wanted me to do was call him up, have him meet us somewhere, and they wanted to beat the crap out of him. And all I could think of was, what good's that gonna do? My brother was the same way. He said, if I'd known all that was going on, I'd have killed him.
Right.
And all I said was, you'd be in jail. You'd be in jail, and it wouldn't take away what he did to me.
Right.
So how's that gonna help anything?
It's not.
And then so I was with my son's father. I got pregnant, and I came home and told him I was pregnant, and he said, well, I'll give you the money for an abortion. And I said, I'm not having an abortion, and I didn't know how I was going to make it because I was on AFTC and trying to get my phone to work better. I was on AFTC, could barely afford my to do with my daughter, and he wasn't helping me out, barely.
Right.
So, and then he found out that I had been used in prostitution. And so sometimes I'd wake up in the morning after, having sex, and he would leave money on the bed. So trigger.
So he treated you like an actual prostitute is what he did.
Yeah. And one time I went downstairs, and this is before Rick was born. He had his 3 sons, and I went downstairs and they had the TV on. They were all watching pornography. Him and his teenage sons. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So my son was born.
Hey, George, welcome in. Thank you for the gifts. That will help Victoria's outreach. Anything that you tell them a little bit about your outreach, Victoria.
Sure. I have a grassroots organization I started 15 years ago. It's called Oz, A Helping Hand for Healing Souls. And I basically just done like small things. For instance, somebody will know what I'm doing and give me like $20, and within 2 or 3 days, I find somebody that may need a bus card or some groceries or clothes for themselves or the kids or whatever. And I'll go down and get them a bus card or a grocery card or a thrift store card. And it's just weird though, isn't it, Rita? How you get a little bit of money and kind of think set it aside, and somebody
Yeah,
comes along and
any little bit helps, you know.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
somebody give me
buy somebody
$20
dinner,
and
buy them a cup of coffee, you know, put some
yes,
gas in your car,
take
whatever.
them over to McDonald's, give them something to eat. Yep.
Right.
But this is always seemed to happen where, once in a while I would, back in the day when you do rebates, you'd get a few bucks back or something for rebates. I'd
Right.
get them back, and then I'd be going down to Minneapolis and somebody'd be really hungry outside of McDonald's and I would just take them in. Figure that rebate money I wasn't even expecting really to get it back and kind of forget all about it being my mail a
Right.
little check.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, just people don't think that people think they have to do all these grandiose things.
It's
But
no different than driving through a Walmart parking lot and you see somebody out there with a sign.
yeah,
They might have kids with them or whatever, and
yeah,
you get that feeling that you really need to help. And
yeah,
even if it's just a handful of change, that helps, you
yeah,
know? And I've done that so many times, it's not even funny.
me too. I don't drive anymore, but Vinny does. And sometimes I'll be going down the road. We'll be going down the road, and you know how you sometimes you just pass somebody because
Right?
you're in a turn lane and got to turn. So I said, Vinny, we got to turn around, and go back because
Yeah,
I got to grab a couple bucks and give to that person. And a lot of
right.
times out here we've got
Hey, Brian,
families with
welcome
kids.
in.
Yeah,
We're
you
talking
know.
a little bit about domestic violence and what Victoria herself has been through, what she's doing today. She literally wants to help people. She has a grassroots organization called Oz, um, and she helps with domestic violence, people that have suffered domestic violence, and a lot of other areas as well. But tonight we're talking about domestic violence. And
I
she's going to
wanna
be showing a wheel, right? You've got a wheel you're going to be showing
yeah.
and kind
I
of
I want to thank
explaining and going
Sherry.
through.
Sherry on here. Sherry Gallagher
Welcome
on
in,
says,
Sherry.
I am in awe of your strength with a red heart. And Edward says his stepfather used to beat up his stepmother and that she was an alcoholic. Um, and that it's very cool they don't live together anymore. Yeah, yeah. And one thing I too wanted to say about domestic
Amen, Brian.
abuse, yeah. The other thing I want to say about domestic abuse is that I'm doing an event in September out here in Minneapolis for Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month, which is in April, which I had to cancel because we had the Floyd killing and there were
Right,
riots and they were burning down buildings and I wanted to have a park in Minneapolis and I just couldn't go out there and do it. So we're
right.
doing it. But October is Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month. I'm having it at the end of September. But I want to
Hmm.
let people know that although it's not very well recognized, that if you're a child in a family where there's domestic abuse, say your parents are being abusive, or even if they're separated and, there's one parent will be putting down the other, not allowing them to see the kids. If there's now, sometimes there's very good reason, but
Right,
sometimes there's alienation syndrome where they'll, turn the child against the other partner, and it's
right,
not just women, it's not just men, but
right.
the power and control wheel I'm going to show you guys is developed by the Duluth Battered Women's Shelter out here in Minnesota. And I work with the Minnesota Coalition for Battered Women when they were putting it together. And so the thing is, a lot of people didn't didn't know that, don't recognize that when children are in domestic violence situations, that they are also victims of abuse, child abuse,
Right.
because they're traumatized, you know.
Right.
Sherry says, how did
It
your
all
story
starts
continue?
with a trauma. Yeah. It all starts with a trauma of some sort
Yeah.
that
So
maybe
Sherry
we
is
don't even
asking,
realize we've had.
yeah. Sherry is asking, how did your story continue and how did you rise above it all? Well, my dad, I finally got away from my biological father, who I call my sperm donor because it's the only thing he ever did that was good. And he had what he called his fantasy, and I called my nightmares, and his sex toys, which I call torture devices. And he ended up involving another woman and another man in his sick little fantasy. I don't even know what to call it. Sickness.
Right.
And
Right.
anyway, one night he went berserk and stuff, and he fell down in the corridor. Um, and we all got out of there. Ended up trying to get my camera to work. Ended up going to the police, and that's how I got away from him. And he was arrested and went to jail, and his mother bailed him out of jail and told me that he said he was sorry, and I said, was he sorry for what he did, or was he sorry he got caught? So I think he's
Right.
sorry he got
Right.
caught.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
he kept coming after me my whole life. I developed multiple personality disorder. You know,
Right.
and yeah, and so it's yeah, it could just be so confusing. So I was working with I got away from my dad, got in this relationship with that guy, and then I finally got away from him, and found out later on that he had abused my son, which I didn't know. My son on visitations, my son was having, and my daughter too. And
It's like
anyway,
a
after I left
never-ending
him,
cycle.
it
It's like
is.
a never-ending cycle. Yeah.
And he had told my son that I knew about it and I didn't care. Because I had done the good bad touch, the little book with the bunny rabbits and the bathing suits, and that whole thing. But he
Right.
told my son that I knew and I just didn't care. And that
Right. Hold
is so
on,
devastating.
Victoria. I've got some questions on Facebook.
Sure.
Sherry is actually on Facebook. Hold
Yeah.
on. She wanted to know, how did your story continue and how did you rise above it all?
Well, when I got away
Ah,
from my sperm donor, I ended up getting involved, like I said, with my son's father. When I got away from him, I went to a Better Women's Shelter, started volunteering, and met up with a woman who I just adored. And we were at we helped the women that were in the shelter, but every year we did like a little retreat thing where we went out to these cabins. And after we put the kids, we go out of the boats, and it was really nice area out in northern Minnesota.
I'm doing a lot.
And anyway, after we got the kids to bed, everybody was bringing out their bottles, and mixing drinks, like a little bit of liquor in the, cup, and then lots of ice and, lots of pop. But I'm going, oh, good, I can drink. I brought my bottle, so I went got my bottle
Right, right.
and started guzzling out of it about, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, And my girlfriend's sitting next to me, and I'm not even knowing she's not drinking, because it's all about me.
Right,
And,
right.
And then she says, Victoria, I have a question. And I go, what? Well, my name was Kathy back then. So she said, Kathy, I have a question. She said, do you think you might be an alcoholic? And I said, yeah, I am an alcoholic. I said, but I'm one of those alcoholics that can't get help.
Right.
And she goes, what kind of alcoholic is that? Well, then I spent 33 years telling her,
Right.
because she became my sponsor. And like I tell people, this woman had something that I wanted, but I wasn't sure what it was. What it was serenity.
Right.
I had never known that. I knew the word, but had no idea what the heck it meant.
Right.
And learning to live life on life's terms was harder than shit. And I had stuffed my feelings and memories for so long that every time I had tried to quit in the past on my own, I ended up having all these memories, not even sure if some of them were even real or if I just was making
Right.
up in my head. Because it's much easier to believe that you're making shit up than it is to accept its reality.
You
Because
know, Sherry Gallinger Hunt is saying, I'm in awe of your strength. Well, where does that strength come from, Victoria?
well, all I could say is there's something I think in all of us that is like built into our beings that can make us go through the most horrendous amount of things. And it's that
Yeah,
part of your spirit that says, I'm not giving up. No matter what, I'm not giving
I'm
up.
not giving up.
You
Right.
know,
I
and
feel I
uh-huh.
feel our strength comes from going through that trial. You know,
Hmm.
we go through it, we get through it, and
Yeah.
that makes us stronger, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah. But the other thing I want to say is that if it wasn't for the other women in the shelter that shared their stories and the shelter that gave me the opportunity to help others, you know,
Right,
then
right,
then I don't think I would have healed like I have healed.
right. It takes other people to,
You know.
so you know that you're not alone. You know,
Yes.
when you feel
Absolutely.
like you're alone, that's when you're in despair.
Yep.
That's when you feel like, there's nothing left. Some people are to the point where they're suicidal, just want to give up because they feel like they're the only one this is happening to. They're alone. They don't know where to go. They don't know who to turn to,
Yeah.
and that's the importance of what you do,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah. And then also, so that the other thing that my grassroots organization does, and I put on two domestic violence. I'm smoking, so just so you know, I'm going outside. I might change colors here a little bit,
You're fine. You're fine.
but just so people know. So anyway, I'm putting on. It's going to be a speak out for survivors of child abuse, and I want to add neglect because some people don't think that's child abuse, and
Right.
also uh, so we're going to have a speak out. We're going to have what I'm calling the Clothesline Project, or actually calling it the Silent Speak Out. And what it's going to be, I've already got some done. I've got clothing from people who are survivors of childhood um, abuse in all its forms,
Right.
and sexual, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial. We could go on. Anyway, and they're writing on the clothes. They're trying to get clothes. Okay, so once you survive things like this, a lot of people end up with post-traumatic stress disorder.
Right.
And now they've got a new term for people that have been abused by more than one person, or so many different kinds of ways, which is called complex PTSD.
Right.
So it's CP. I can't even do all the initials because there's just getting too many.
Uh,
But anyway, I'm doing better outside actually. But so and I'm gonna have it at this park in Boom Island. It's called Boom Island Park. And 5 women sexual assault survivors got together, raised enough money to build these 3 monuments. If you go on Google, just Google Survivors Memorial in Minneapolis. And
okay.
it shows the structures. And last October, they dedicated it. Like I said, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Prevention Month. And I just got a hold of BACA. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Bikers Against Child Abuse.
I'm online.
and they're coming out. And I'm starting a meetup group called Survivors of Abuse and Allies in Action. And I have a Blog Talk radio show on Thursday nights at 7:30. And if you know Rita, Rita can get you connected up with me to give you any more information on any of this. I'm selling bumper stickers to raise money, $5, and on them it says, children
Hey,
should be
Jesse.
seen, heard, and believed.
Right.
So whether or not you want to stick it on your bumper or not, it's going to help me because I have to pay for a park permit. And if I want to use a gazebo, they are $150 for half a day. So I might just go with a $40 10 by 10 tarp to put my electronical stuff under, which I'd rather have a gazebo, but I get $104 a month,
Right.
and I can't foot the bill. You know, I just
Right.
can't.
Right.
We're gonna have a candlelight march at the beginning. I'm gonna talk about children who've been abused but who have died at the hands of their abusers,
Right.
or those that died of suicide, and because of the stigma of quote committing suicide, they've changed it to died of suicide. Like if you've died of cancer,
Uh-huh.
it's, you know,
Right.
if people are I've been suicidal many, many, many times, and the only reason I didn't kill myself was because I didn't want to leave that legacy for my children. I've worked with too many women and men in Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, which I have 34 years in, sober and clean. But like I always say, all I got is this moment. You know, it's
Right.
a lot of one moments all put together. That's all it is.
Right.
You know, I
Right.
have just as much as sobriety as a person that just walks in the room because all I got is this moment. And
There
I
you
always
go.
say,
Right.
I live in the present because the present is a gift from my higher power.
Right.
And, you know, I wake up every morning with that gift. And I get to decide what to do with that gift every single moment of every single day, you know,
Right.
and I get to choose whether I'm going to do good with that gift or negative, or be in a positive attitude or a negative attitude. Today I have control over my behavior, my emotions, my actions, you know, where before I
Right.
didn't. I was controlled. And we need to remember to tell ourselves we have the power today. You know, and if I would have killed myself, you know, Rita, my dad would have won.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He would
Yeah.
have won. You know, if
Right.
I live a miserable life and I don't follow my dreams and I don't help people like I want to do, which is where my heart is, then
Right.
he wins. And the reason why, I don't know, it says poor again, so I don't know if you can hear me. Can you?
Yeah.
But the reason why I said my name was Kathy before was I decided to speak out, and I don't know why my phone's doing this.
I don't either. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know
Do
why.
you have any other apps open?
No.
Do you have other apps open?
I don't know. Let me go down and try to see what I got and close everything out.
Yeah, look and see if you got any other apps open.
Yeah, I'm
And
just
if you
gonna
do, close them out.
Yeah, because this has never happened before.
Yeah.
That's never happened. Yeah, that might work better now. I had a couple things open.
Okay.
So, yeah. So anyway, I was gonna do public speaking with the Battered Women's Shelter and stuff, and he lived in Minneapolis. And of course, the only thing that happened to him was he was court ordered to therapy, which I'm not even going to go in because it was so disgusting.
What are you doing with that tub?
So
Okay.
I decided to change my name, and I looked in a Christian name book.
That's not one of mine
and
that had stuff in it, is it? Okay.
I got
sorry,
a
go
Christian
ahead.
name book. No, I got a Christian name book,
Oh.
and Edward says he's the creator of Bitcom, and he'd like to help me.
Oh, Bitcoin. Okay, we're not talking about that right now, Edward, okay? Please don't promote your business on here right now. This is for domestic violence.
He said I had a good cause and he wants to help me.
Oh,
I
okay.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, I looked in a Christian name book and found out that Victoria means victorious, which is kind of pretty obvious. And my
Right.
middle name was Roth, which was my mother's middle name, my grandmother's first name. So I kept that because I found out that meant spirit. And Kelly is warrior. So it's victorious, spirit, warrior. And I tell you what, Rita, at the time, I didn't feel very victorious and I really feel like a warrior. But that's what
Right.
I was shooting for. You
Let
know,
me just tell Edward I apologize because I misunderstood. And
yeah.
if you want to message one of us later, and talk with us, we'll be more than glad to, talk about it.
I'll stick my email on here too.
Yeah.
Now this is just for the grassroots organization. This isn't for nothing else, you know. If you want to get
What
a
is
hold of me
your
about,
email, Victoria, so I can put it in over here?
yep,
What is it?
it's Oz, AHHS, number
3
one.
H's.
Yep,
Number
and then
one.
the number one at yahoo.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's Victoria's email for anyone that wants to reach out to her. All right, go ahead,
And then
Victoria.
I also self-published a book called Journey Within, and that was in 2000. And I've got two women from Oregon that are women's studies professors that are writing my story and using artwork that I've created and writings that I used in my first book. Because it's not a book
Right.
you can buy because it was never like published, real published. It was self-published. But
Right.
I sold 90 copies and gave 90 away. And then I photocopied some and I've read some on open mic nights and things like that. So the women that are doing my book are gonna we're setting up another interview right now. We've done about 6 of them
Right.
on like the Zoom type thing where they've recorded it.
Mm-hmm.
So also what we're gonna do at the park is I'm gonna hang up these clothing and I'm getting this meetup group together so I can get survivors to come out to the park ahead of time, bring clothing and fabric markers and fabric paints, and like I said, bring something that reminds you of when you were abused. And I've got people said, well, I've been abused for years. And I said, well, you're willing to, you're more than welcome to send more than one item. I said, but if you just want to pick out one that, say, you go into secondhand store, garage sale or something that kind of like says, yeah, that, you know, I can remember about when I was that age,
Right.
and how. So they're going to write down either what happened to them, um, or how they felt at the time, or how they feel about it now.
Right.
And I've got about 30 pieces of clothing already, and so I'm hoping to get more. And my girlfriend, Amy Anna Soto is her name. She's my co-organizer for the Clothesline Project. She's out of California. She says, "Oh, Victoria, I'd like to help you, but I'm so far away." And I says, "You know what? We're on the internet. We're practically neighbors."
Right. Right.
Yeah. So she agreed, and she made 7 paintings for me, and I'm using one of them that's going to be for our, like, I don't know if you call it a logo or what you call it, you know. Um, and then we're going to do the so on the other side of that, we're going to do a candlelight march over the Mississippi River Bridge over there.
Right.
And on the other side, we're going to extinguish candles. Then we're going to relight them, and we're going to have a celebration for survivors, thrivers, conquerors and warriors, and then we're going to march back across. And I have some music by a woman named Kim Storm. One of the songs is Survivors of the Violence, and she's got a whole bunch of other ones about child abuse. So
Ah,
this rally and event is about child abuse, awareness, prevention, intervention, and education. And in October is domestic violence. Now, if I can get enough funding for this and get this going and everything, then I can maybe recreate it the same thing in October for domestic violence.
right,
And so that's kind of why I want to come on here tonight and talk about domestic abuse, because that's coming up. And also this month is mental health awareness and PTSD awareness.
right,
So, we're just, and then also in January was Human Trafficking Awareness Month. And I got contacted by a woman that does a Ms. Texas show and asked me to be interviewed to tell my story about how I was used in prostitution as a teenager and the pornography my dad took of me.
right.
And so I have a video on YouTube with that interview too. So, I'm trying to get things around to educate people, and especially because this meant so much to me,
Right,
let people know they're not alone.
right,
They are not alone. We are out there, other survivors are out there speaking. And some people are like, well, when when people get healthy enough, they can if people are healthy enough, they can speak out, whatever. But it
right.
has nothing to do with being healthy or not. Some people want to speak out, some people don't.
Hey, Rick, welcome in. Let me just interject something here just real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, those of you that are on Clapper seeing this live, and those of you that are on Facebook seeing this live, there is a link you can click above that will take you to the app that we're actually on. And you can see Victoria and myself. Right now, I've just got my phone pointed at the screen. So this is the only way I can do it to call attention to people that are on these other platforms. Okay. So I'm not able to see comments on, these other platforms, but Victoria and I can see the comments, or Victoria can see the comments on the app that we're actually on. So if you can do that, please come over to the app. If you can't, it's fine if you stay where you're at. Just understand, if we don't recognize you, it's because we're not seeing your comments right now.
If you'd like to be recognized that you're here, please comment.
Yes.
I'm on the Clapper app, I mean the Apps
App.
app, and I can see your comments. So if you just want to go on there and just say hi, or hi from wherever you're from, then we'll know that you're here and supporting our work and our trying to get the message out about what's really important to me is networking. I did started a new blog talk radio show for Oz, and it's on Thursday nights at 7:30 Central Time. And again, if you want to write to me at that email address, I can send you the information on all the stuff that we're working on.
Right.
Also, I want to have information and literature out there, and I'm thinking of having the sexual assault center that's in Minneapolis to come out, be far enough away from where the event is so that people can't hear it, and have a safe place for survivors to go if they get triggered
Hey, Catherine.
or if they need services.
Right.
I'm also going to have a children's area where I'm going to have crayons and paper, put up feeling charts, you know, and just have an organization or a group of young people that would be willing to kind of be there with them so the adults can be in the adult part of it.
Right.
I'm also putting a warning up for the clothesline project that it is not recommended for children, and I'm still not sure the age, but I'm thinking 14 or 15
Right.
because they're heavy, heavy messages.
And I just
Mine-
want to mention that any donations, any gifts, any contributions are going to go to Victoria's outreach to help with domestic violence, human trafficking, you know, all of that. She is an advocate in many areas, as well as an ambassador for, say the name, Victoria.
NASCA, the National
NASCA.
Association of Adult Survivors of Child Abuse, and also SAVE, which is Survivors Against Violence Everywhere. And both of those groups are on Facebook if you want to be a part of any of them. We also, for NASCA, the National Association of Adult Survivors of Child Abuse, which is NAASCA.org. It's like NASCAR with no R and two A's. NASCA.org. We have support groups for adult survivors of child abuse 3 times a week, 1 o'clock Central Time on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And anybody is welcome. They can go on the NASCA.org website and get the link on the website. And I can put the website down here too.
Yeah, tell me what the website is again, and I'll put it in. Hello, Stephanie.
NAASCA.org. O-R-G. Now I'm putting it on HAP. What is it? What are we on HAP?
Yeah, and I'm putting it on Clapper and Facebook.
All right. Yeah.
I'm trying to run 3 things here right now.
I'm really proud of you, Rita. You're doing great.
Yeah, I'm multitasking.
Yeah. Don't we have to?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I also have what's it called? Cash App. If people want to get a bumper sticker, I have a few bumper stickers that I'm using for getting donations, and they're $5.
Do you have PayPal as well, or just Cash App?
I have PayPal and Cash App.
Okay.
Cash App is better though, because if you've never used Cash App and you sign up, I get a little bonus for it.
Yeah, well, that does help too.
It's a little boost for me for my organization.
I think that's why a lot of people use Cash App too, because you know it does help. It does help. The only problem is with a lot of people and a lot of organizations actually don't want to use Cash App because they have to have some kind of like proof where I don't know how to explain it exactly, but with some organizations they have to have some kind of proof and protection, and you don't get quite the same protection as you do with PayPal.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to show you guys the bumper stickers I have. Children should be seen, heard, and believed is the first one. Second one is enough is enough. And the next one is breathe.
Can't quite see the whole thing. Can you show it again? Couldn't quite see the whole thing. No. Okay, now I see that. I see that. I see breathe. Go closer with your phone if you can, and show one section at a time.
That too close?
Well, it's kind of blurry, but I think they get the idea. Enough is enough. Breathe, and then go up to the top.
And then here's my button. But I haven't been selling my button mainly because it's the same thing as a bumper sticker. Because it's too expensive to ship. So here's, see, I'll go across.
Children can be seen and not heard. Got it. Okay. Thank you, Victoria.
Yeah. So I have them available, and just let me know which one. Of course, the ones that are enough is enough, they're like $3 because they're smaller.
Right.
But I still have
And
I still have to pay for
if you
postage.
guys scroll up through the chat, Victoria's other information is there as well. Her email, the other association that she is ambassador for, and her grassroots organization is all in the chat. So,
So the grassroots organization is called Oz. It stands for A Helping Hand for Healing Souls. And
but
almost everybody that's
it's spelled differently though. It's spelled spell it, Victoria. I can never
A
get it right.
H sure. AHHS Oz. Not like the Wizard of Oz, like ah.
Right. I get it.
You know,
I get it. Like
but
ah ah.
yeah, you know. But survivors too much gets told that, just get over it and move on, and why do you keep talking about it? And
Hey Janet,
so
welcome in.
it's really nice to have these platforms where we can, be understood, and where people want to listen to us and want to understand and want to help, because
Right,
there are
right,
people out there that do. There are people out there that get it. There's a
right,
lot of people out there that don't get it,
right, right,
and don't understand that once somebody's been through the kind of stuff I've been through and other people have been through, the trauma lasts with you, and you have to deal with it every single day of your life.
right,
I'll probably be on this journey of healing till the day I take my last breath.
right. We all will,
Yeah.
and we're all going to be facing triggers, and we have to learn coping skills for those triggers.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was so I work
The
with the
wheel.
Minnesota Coalition for Battered Women. Can you see this?
Uh-huh.
Minnesota Coalition for Battered Women. And this was developed, the Power and Control Wheel was developed by the Duluth Battered Women's Shelter. And it's got different pieces of pie. This one's using coercion and threats, using intimidation, using emotional abuse, isolation, minimizing, denying, and blaming, using children, using male privilege, using economic abuse, using coercion and threats. So, on the outside is the type of violence, which is physical violence, sexual, and so it's just kind of the whole wheel thing. Then if you go on, it's called the DuluthModel.org. It will give a description of what the Power and Control Wheel is about and why it was developed. And they got some funding to put together some manuals.
Awesome.
Through the state, they got picked for like the one to do it, put together manuals.
Right,
I call them womanals, but that's just me.
right. Welcome in, Tony. Tony is on Clapper.
Okay. Hi, Tony.
Yeah. If you have any questions for Victoria, please feel free to ask. She's very knowledgeable in pretty much all areas of violence, domestic violence, child trafficking, human trafficking. She is an advocate for all these areas. She's been through a lot of it herself. And so she has searched it out and found help, and now she helps others, which I think is really, really
So mainly
amazing.
what I try to do is recreate. I don't want to recreate the wheel. Not, I just showed you a wheel, but recreate the wheel of setting up new projects. So I like networking with other organizations that are already doing things.
Right,
So say somebody out in Minneapolis, they're feeding people on Thursdays or something, so I can
right,
direct people there. There might be somebody else that's giving out clothing. So I don't have to start a clothing shelf. So I don't have to start a food program,
right,
But then there are other things like educating the public that people are not doing. They're doing direct
right,
services. They're
right,
not doing education. they don't have a safe place, which is very
Right.
important for survivors to speak out. That is my main thing, for survivors to know they are not alone. They can speak out in a safe place. They
Right.
don't have to. It's their story. And if anybody ever comes on like my show as a guest and wants to tell their story, I always make sure that I let everybody know, if you're going to ask questions, the person that is my guest speaker has the ability, or the, I don't want to say permission, but can say, I don't feel comfortable answering that question.
Right. Right.
And we get to say that stuff.
Right.
Just because we're out there doesn't mean that, I had a friend that was used in prostitution, and somebody asked her how her sex life was currently.
None of your business.
And you know what her response is? I'll answer, but how's your sex life?
There you go. There you go. There you go. Right.
And the lady goes, what? She goes, well,
Right.
you think that, it's
Hey,
okay to ask me that
Rhonda.
question, but I can't ask you the same question.
Right.
You get
I
offended?
mean, when you've been through something like that and somebody comes and approaches you on that, I mean, really, it isn't their business,
No.
how's that going to help them,
Mm.
anyway,
Yeah.
But
I know people have asked me the weirdest question. The hardest question for me to answer, and one I don't even have an answer to, is, why would your dad do that stuff to you? I'm like,
yeah,
I have no idea.
yeah, right,
I spent years trying to figure out why he did it to me, and what I did wrong, and how I could have got away, and da da da. You know how much energy that took?
yeah, and unless you can actually get in the other person's head,
It
you're
doesn't
not going to
matter why.
know, or
Yeah.
whatever,
I realized it didn't matter why. What mattered was, how did it affect me, and
right,
what can I do to heal? That's
right,
all that mattered.
right,
I would not put no more energy into figuring out why. So when people ask me why he did it, I said, I had no idea.
right, exactly,
But this is how I healed,
right,
and I went through a lot of therapy, and I went in a lot in and out of institutions. That's how I healed. I
right,
was suicidal a lot, and because, like I said, I didn't want to leave the legacy of my children of their mom killing themselves.
right.
I would
And the
voluntarily.
cycle has to break somewhere. You have to break the cycle,
Yeah.
you know?
And I tell you what, I see my granddaughter, and it is just so wonderful. The love and nurturing, and my granddaughter will get upset, and she'll say, "Oh, honey, it's okay. I know you're having a hard time."
Right,
And she'll give her a big hug and stuff, and I'm just like, "Wow!" It's
right.
just, it's amazing.
Yeah,
And
it
any
is.
little bit of change we can make from the way that we were raised
Right.
is like a breakthrough.
Yes, it is.
You
You
know,
guys that are on, please feel free to ask Victoria any questions. That's one of the reasons she is here, to answer any questions relating to the topic that we're on. She's been through a lot, and she's overcome a lot, and she's very knowledgeable. So any
but
questions you have about domestic violence, feel free to ask
yeah.
those questions.
So in 1986, I got away from my son's father, and I ended up working with Battered Women's Shelter, Alexandra House, and started going to conferences on domestic violence and sexual assault. And it was very interesting back then, because it was all the professionals telling how survivors felt and what survivors did and this and that. And so it
Right,
was like secondhand information. Survivors were not telling their stories.
right,
I also belong to now the National Organization for Women, and I was on the board in Texas for that. And I belong to Whisper, which was Women, Heart, and Systems of Prostitution Engaged in Revolt, and did a juvenile prostitution prevention project. We had support groups for women trying to get out of systems of prostitution, which is prostitution, pornography, and stripping.
wow,
And our program was so amazing. We had on our board, we had an attorney that did pro bono legal for these women. A lot of the children were like pretty much held captive by their pimp's mother. Would take the kids, and they only got to see them when the pimp allowed them to.
Right.
So we'd have to get an attorney to go get the get the kids, or they'd have all these legal things against them, arrest for prostitution. We had one poor gal that was going down the street with her kids just to the grocery store, and they arrested her for soliciting because she was walking across the street. She was a known prostitute, you know. And so I don't call myself a prostitute. I was prostituted. Something that
Right.
happened to me, not something I was.
Right.
The other
Right.
thing is we call children that are used in prostitution child prostitutes. No, they are child rape victims. Adults are
Right.
using children and paying for the right to rape them. That's what it is.
Right.
Clear and simple.
Exactly.
I don't mince words. I don't mince words. And then I also work for Organizing Against Pornography, and I did a documentary with them, and it was pornography as violence against women, and talked about if anybody's seen the movie or heard about the movie Deep Throat with Linda Marciano. And well, she was Linda Lovelace was the name they gave her, but her real
Right.
name's Linda Marciano.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But she says in her book that every time she drives by a theater where that's airing, she knows people are watching her being raped. She said, everybody's seen the smile on my face, but nobody's seen the bruises on my body that they touched up or the gun pointed at my head.
Right. Exactly. People don't know that she was actually abused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her husband married her so that it was even harder for her to get away because,
Right.
again, the domestic abuse,
Mm-hmm.
it's just so much control, and that's the whole thing with power and control. And like I put if you want to look more into it, but like when I meet women at AA, well, what I do when I talk at AA, I always say that I'm an incest survivor and battered woman and things like that. And I've had many people say, I don't know why you keep bringing that up, Victoria. You've got 34 years of sobriety. You'd think you'd be over it by now. And I said,
Right.
well, you know what? Why I keep bringing it up? I said, because every time I do, somebody comes up to me afterwards, man or woman, and says, I'm a survivor of incest or battery or rape or whatever. And nobody
Right.
ever talks about it.
Right.
That's why I bring it up. And they need
Well,
help and they need someone to talk to.
It's not anything you ever actually get over,
No.
but you overcome it. That's the difference.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you have to tell your story in order for people to see, look at you today. Look how strong you are. That's one of the things that Sherry was saying, how strong you are.
Yeah.
When people see that and they hear your story, it's like, wow.
Yeah. And if people go to my page on Clapper, Rita helped me cut down a video that I was in on YouTube, and that was 11 years ago when I was homeless out in Houston, Texas. And if I would have got kicked out of here in October,
Victoria.
Yeah.
Victoria, go back because you froze.
I said, Rita helped me post a video on my page on Clapper of when I was homeless out in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, so if you go to Victoria's page on Clapper, it's Victoria Kelly, and you'll find her, and she has got, I think, 3 or 4 videos put up there, and one of them is one when she was homeless. And she's not homeless today. Not homeless today.
I would be. If it was up to the place I live in, I would be.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to evict me in October, but they can't because of COVID.
Right.
Because of my service animal. She said, if I'd known you were going to have a dog when you moved in here, you never moved in the first place. Refused to call it a service animal. When I said, I'll show you the papers I copied for my rights in assisted living facility, she goes, I don't want to see your papers. And even after they got a letter from my attorney, disability law attorney, The owner came up here and threatened to kick me out. That it was his building. These guys get state funding.
Oh, wow.
You know, I can sue them, but I looked it up, the information, and I can. But the recommendation is you wait until you're out of the facility.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
they get most of your check. It's not like you're not paying for it,
I get $104 a month.
So, right.
Yep.
So not only are they getting state funding, they're also getting money from you. You
Yep.
know, so to what they're doing is so unfair. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna say that.
Yeah. But so if you go to this website that I put down there for maybe I didn't put it down there. I thought I did. Oh yeah, the Duluth model. You go to, excuse me, the Duluth Better Women's Shelter wheel library. It explains the wheels, why they were created, and
How do
they have
you spell Duluth?
DULTH. No, I spelt it wrong. I'm sorry. DULUTH. Duluth.
Okay, and so what is the rest of it? Duluth what?
Just put in Better Women's Shelters. Better Women's. Actually, Duluth Model Wheels.
Duluth what?
Model
Wheels. Okay.
or wheel, yeah. Wheel or wheels, either way it'll come up. And it's got a whole wheel library. It's got the power and control wheel. It's got the equality wheel. It's got a abusing children wheel. It's got a nurturing children wheel. It's got a creator wheel. You can print up any of them. You can order the poster size from them. And I don't know if you guys have ever watched Law and Order SVU. Anyway, in their office, Special Victim Law and Order Special Victims Unit, in their office, they have the power and control wheel up on the wall.
Right.
In their office on that show, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. That is cool.
I mean, Linda Marciano is my hero. She's the one that played Detective Benson and is now the sergeant.
Yeah.
And and I also have a YouTube channel, and I'm not starting it or launching it until I do my rally this end of September. And I'm going to try to get through my meetup group somebody that'll photograph the rally without photographing survivors.
Right.
Because
I am going to you'll be able to find the couple of lives that we've done already on YouTube, her YouTube channel, and on mine, actually, because I'm going to download them so that she can upload them to her YouTube, and I will also be putting them onto my YouTube and giving a link in there that links it to Victoria's YouTube. I can't talk. Did that make sense, Victoria?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm all tongue-tied tonight. I can't talk.
So did anybody have any questions or anything I can...
Hey, Andres. Yeah, anybody have any questions to ask Victoria? If you need any referrals or references or anything like that, if you just want to ask a question, or maybe you need help, let us know. Let us know.
Yeah, either message Rita or she can get you in touch with me. But we'll continue doing this type of thing if people are still interested and want
and
this kind of information. So let us know one way or another if it's helpful or what more different things we can do that would be more helpful.
Right. Do you want, please, settle down, please? Um, do you want to, I'm getting very distracted. Do you want to, mention your podcast again and, let them know where to go to find your podcast?
Yeah, let me see if I can. Let me get them in.
I'm sorry, I got the kids in here making all kinds of noise and stuff now.
Kids do that.
Yeah,
That's part of it.
but I get distracted. Hey,
Oh, I know.
Christina.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, that I'm gonna write it down here in the comment. But it's called Friends Talk Radio, and you can find it on Blog Talk Radio.
Go get that bucket back.
I'm typing it in too.
And it'll also be
Go get it back.
it'll also be on. I can write this into Thursday nights, Thursdays at 7:30 Central every Thursday night.
Okay.
And I'll have different speakers. And the next speaker I'm going to have is Bill Murray, who is the founder of NASCA, and he was used in pornography and prostitution by priests
Oh, wow.
and like a pedophile. Yeah. So he'll be talking about his story and why he started NASCA and all the things available. If you go to NASCA.org, what's really great is there's educational tools on how to talk to kids. There's support on healing. There's education materials if you want to do speaking engagements. I'll be printing out some of his literature to be putting out at the rally. So there's just so much information, and
Right.
he is just a wonderful guy. I've known him for about 11 years, and he's in recovery. And I'm not saying nothing he don't say otherwise himself. He's
Right.
been out there. He's got I don't know how many Blog Talk Radio shows, and I'll also be on his Blog Talk Radio show on the 30th at 7 o'clock, and his goes for an hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
Ours are scheduled for 2 hours, but the only reason we schedule them for 2 hours because we don't know how long they're going to go. This is
Right.
just like last week was our first show, but I
Right.
gave an overview of Oz, and so some people started listening to it that I sent the link and said, well, this is just a training thing because that's how we started it as, bear with us, I'm training them. And
Right.
they didn't go into listening to the whole thing about me explaining Oz and our projects.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's cool. That is very, very, very cool. I need to really go watch some of the replays, or listen to them, because the
Yeah.
replays are available as well, right?
Oh, yeah, it's archived. It'll be on there. Yeah. Same
Okay.
with the Ms. Texas Show interview. And if you go on Ms. Texas Show on YouTube, no spaces, MS Texas Show, no spaces, you'll see me, and behind it is like a purple background, and it'll say Meet Victoria. And
Right.
it's quite intense. And I tell people, if you go on there and watch it and you start having a hard time, I will not be offended if you don't watch the whole
And
thing.
you froze again. You froze again.
It's cold here in Minnesota.
I'm trying to type it in, but it looks like we're having some issues with the internet and stuff right now on your end.
Yeah. Anyway, I should probably get going because I gotta go down and take my medications.
Okay. All right.
Or
Well,
they'll write,
thank you.
or they'll write down I'm not med compliant.
Right. Thank you for all your information, Victoria.
Yes.
It was great.
Yes.
I appreciate you.
And
And
please, anybody who hears this, please share any information that you heard with
yeah,
those I want. You know,
right.
what could help me out too.
Anyone that's just now joining, all the information is in the chat. Victoria's email is in the chat. Go ahead and take note of that. If you want to reach out to her, feel free to reach out to her. And you can find her on Clapper. You can find her on Facebook. You can find her on Instagram and on Haps. So we're going to end this now, and we appreciate each and every one of you for joining us. And this will also eventually, I don't know quite when, be posted on YouTube on both my channel and Victoria's channel. All right, Victoria, have a good evening, and thank you.
Thank you, sweetie. I love you.
All right, bye-bye.
Good night.
I love
Okay,
you.
bye.